Hello, everyone. Welcome to Therapeutic class today. So today's class, we are going to be focusing on spinal stenosis. Now, spinal stenosis of the low back area today is going to be our highlight. So I wanted to begin class kind of taking the fear of the concept of the word stenosis out of everybody's head. You know, in the medical world, we use these big, scary pathological words. But what I really want you to understand about spinal stenosis, it is a natural part of aging. Our bone is alive. Every piece of our bone system in our body is alive and is always growing and not growing. So there's this active process that's happening all the time. Spinal stenosis is an advanced aging of excess bone growth within your spinal canal and where the nerves come out of your spine. So if you think of it in those simple terms, when we have excessive aging of an area where extra bone growth is occurring, it's likely due to a couple of main reasons. One is inefficient postures, and the other is overuse. So a therapeutic yoga class on low back spinal stenosis is really not going to be focusing on a lot of movement and activity of the lumbar spine, because if the nerve comes out of the spine and there's not a lot of space for it, the last thing that we would want to be doing is creating even tighter and doing lots of extension-based activities or something that irritates the spine. So we'll be doing some opening up of the spine, if you want to think of it that way, more flexion-based activities. But outside of that, our entire focus for today's class is going to be creating mobility above the stenosis and below the stenosis. So when we think of stenosis as being an overuse issue, we're going to stop overusing the overuse and create the mobility where we should have had it in the first place. Okay, so what you need for class today is pretty simple. You need a yoga mat, you need a chair of some sort to sit in, and a bolster or something similar for a bolster to be able to use to create side bending and to elevate your pelvis. So once you have that, have yourself a seat in the chair, and let's get started with our low back spinal stenosis class. So have half of your leg bone on the chair, half of your leg bone off the chair. Go ahead and position your feet so that your feet are approximately hip distance. Now, if you've got extremely, extremely tight hips, and you know who I'm talking about, that person that when they sit down, the very first thing they do is slump back in a chair and kick their legs out to the side. So if you've got really, really tight hips, maybe you're starting a little bit wider than hip distance today. So you just pick what's good for you. I'm starting at hip distance. All right, place your hands onto your thighs, lengthen your spine nice and tall, relax your shoulder blades back and down, lengthen your neck and settle your chin. So spinal stenosis, we're going to be working on just trying to open up those holes where those nerves come out, where there's too much excess bone. So no major cow poses today, but really kind of gently encouraging the cat pose. So in this position, just take an inhale, expand your belly, but don't force that roll forward of that pelvis or that arch of the back. But then as you exhale, just slowly let your tailbone settle down, slowly curve your rib cage downward, and just open up those beautiful nerves of your low back. Now, when you inhale, bring yourself back up into a seated position and let your belly come outward. Then as you exhale, slowly let that tailbone settle under, slowly curl that rib cage, maybe even drop your head while you're at it. Inhale, just bring yourself back up to a seated position, expand that belly outward. And then finally, as you exhale, curl that tailbone under, allow yourself to curl that rib cage under, maybe even drop your head. All right, just gentle opening of the lumbar spine here. Then bring yourself back up into a seated position. We're going to create a little tiny spinal twist here. So the biggest problem with spinal stenosis in our low back is that our rib cage is very, very stiff. So we're going to start with focusing on our rib cage first. So Take your right hand, place it behind you, maybe even grab the chair or the seat pan of the chair. Take your left hand and place your left hand to the outside of your right knee. Inhale, and as you inhale, allow your belly to expand as your spine goes tall. And then as you exhale, just nicely with that left hand, triceps, push yourself a little bit to the right and feel that stretch in your rib cage area. Lengthen your neck, settle your chin, maybe turn your gaze over your right shoulder if you like. Now, this is the important part. Take a deep inhale into your belly. And exhaling out. Slow, deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. Unrotate your head and then unrotate your rib cage. All right, let's repeat that on the opposite side, left rib cage rotation. So take your left hand to the back of your chair, your right hand to the outside of the left knee. Allow yourself here to take that inhale and let your belly go out, stick your spine nice and tall, straight. As you exhale, triceps on that right hand, just rotate through the rib cage here. Then lengthen the neck, settle the chin, and just turn the gaze over the left shoulder. So not a fierceful, strong spinal twist, but starting to open up that rib cage. Now, take a deep, deep inhale into your belly here. And exhaling out. Slow, deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. Wonderful. Unrotate the head, unrotate the shoulders. All right, so we've already tackled a bit of mobility above that stiff spinal stenosis. Now let's tackle a little bit of the tightness below it. So our pelvis and our hip joints. Allow yourself to turn to the left side of your chair. Now, as you turn to the left side of your chair today, drop your right knee down. Have it so that the right knee stacks perfectly underneath the right hip. Now, those of us with spinal stenosis or excess bone growth that might be pinching on nerves, it's really important for us, depending on what nerve is pinching, whether it's a nerve that's affecting the front of the leg or a nerve affecting the back of the leg, to create mobility in the nerves and our hip joints. It's where we're the stiffest. So let's allow ourselves to shift our body weight forward. So no extension of the spine today. In this position, place both of your hands on your thigh. Have that knee perfectly aligned underneath that hip joint. Then take a nice deep inhale in. And as you exhale, tighten your abdominals and tilt your pelvis under, tuck that tailbone under, and hopefully you're getting a nice little stretch through the front of that hip. Now in this position, take a nice deep inhale into your belly. Exhaling out. Slow, deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. Wonderful. So release the tilt of the pelvis. Allow yourself to unrotate your body. And then just rotate your body to the right, dropping the left leg down this time. Right leg is in front of you. Again, check in that left knee is stacked perfectly on top of the hip. And then let's really make sure our spine is not in any extension today. Let's give those nerves the best opportunity to open up. So go ahead and rest your hands on your thigh, kind of bring your rib cage all the way forward. Now, with this pelvis and your abdominals, take a nice deep inhale. And on the exhale, tuck the tailbone under, feel that opening through the front of the hips. All right, nice deep inhale into your belly here. And exhaling out. Slow, deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. Beautiful. Release the tension of the pelvis and then turn yourself back to the center. All right, so we've loosened up the top part of the rib cage, the area that's stiff that makes us overuse our low back. We've loosened up the front of our hips, oftentimes the area that's stiff that makes us overuse our low back. Now loosen up the back of the hips. And really we'd be one and done if we wanted to leave it right there. So allow yourself, again, to have yourself hip distance first and then walk your feet out to shoulder width distance. Now, if you were that person that started with a wider base of support, allow yourself to go even wider than that. So once you've got yourself shoulder width distance, for those of you with moderate hip tightness. Those of you with severe hip tightness, a little bit wider for me. Assume the toilet bowl position. So you know what I mean. Drop those elbows down onto the thighs. Once you have your elbows drop down onto your thighs, interlace your hands. And then just kind of lengthen your neck, settle your chin, and gaze at your thumbs. So that's the position you're going to begin with. Now, I'm going to turn me 90 degrees. You don't need to turn you 90 degrees. But I am going to turn me 90 degrees so that you can see exactly what we're doing with this particular exercise to open up through the back of our hips. Again, remember, our goal is to create a release of tension where we have spinal stenosis. So hamstrings, gluteals, oftentimes too tight. This is what we want to be working on. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to take your belly and gently pull your belly a little bit between your thighs. Now, as you do that, you're not forcing extension of your low back. You're just trying to get it in a little bit of not a pelvic tilt position where you see the curvature above into your rib cage. So can you just straighten your back a little bit and get that curvature out of your rib cage and pull your belly between your thighs? Okay, so here's what we're doing. Take an inhale, push into your feet, lift your hips up. As you exhale, bottoms up. Take your bottom all the way towards the ceiling. You've got it. You should feel that in the back of your thighs and your gluteals. Inhale, sink down a little tiny bit. Then as you exhale, bottoms up, pull it all the way up. If you can, keep your belly between your thighs for me. Inhale, sinking. Exhaling, lifting that bottom all the way up, opening up through the back of your hips here. 2 more times for me. Inhale and sink. Exhale and lift and pull that bottom all the way up, straightening through the knees. Your gaze is still down at your thumbs. Last time. Inhale. And exhale, and bottoms all the way up. Beautiful. Inhale, slowly sit back down on your chair. Place your hands on your thighs, and as you exhale, sit yourself all the way up. Okay, so I'm going to stay in a side position so that you can see me. The very last thing that we want to do in sitting is open up all of those spinal canals in our low back. So far, we've opened up our rib cage, opened up the front of the hips, opened up the back of the hips. The only thing left to do is alleviate that tension on those nerves in your low back. So your feet are still in that shoulder width distance, wider if you've got really big, tight hips. And we're going to do a nice, good sequential flexion and forward fold. So here's what I want you to imagine. Starting at the very top of your head, you're curling your spine forward until you get all the way down into a full flexion position. Those nerves of your low back, as you do that, they just say, as they have more space to move and breathe and get nutrition and blood. So let's give this a try. Place your hands onto your thighs. Take a nice deep inhale here, and then as you exhale, slowly lengthen the back of the neck, bring the chin into the chest, and then slowly curve the chin all the way down to the chest. Then, as you're normally breathing, let your elbows bend and continue to curl that rib cage all the way down. When your rib cage is completely curled, your shoulders will be somewhere stacked on top of your knees. Elbows are bent, so you can slowly start to pull your abdomen in, curling your lumbar spine, dropping your shoulders down towards the knees as you drop your hands downward towards the floor. Now, continue curling until you get that entire rib cage as close to between those knees as you can. Remember, that head has to stay curled. So you're either looking upward at the back or bottom of your chair. Once you get yourself all the way there, if you curled nicely, hopefully you're feeling a beautiful stretch in your low back area. Now let's add to that stretch by adding our breath. So take a nice deep inhale into your belly here. And exhaling out. Slow, deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. All right, so it is time to uncurl.
but let's do it in a very particular way. So start to push into your feet, feel your glutes, hamstrings, and pelvic floor engaging. Now, really contract your abdominal muscles, pull them up and in, and see if you can imagine turning your tailbone under. Slowly let the pelvis come back upward first. Then, segment by segment, uncurl the spine using all of those beautiful back muscles until you continue curling the rib cage all the way back upwards. Chin is still to your chest. Relax your shoulder blades down your spine. Continue lengthening all the way up through the neck until you get yourself back into an upward position. So, in fact, in the physical therapy world, we call that a Williams flexion exercise, an exercise to promote space in the nerves for individuals with spinal stenosis. In the yoga world, we just call it a modification of a forward fold. Okay, so now we're ready to make it down to our mat. If you have a lot of difficulty getting to the floor, but you've got a really bad back, you may be just stopping right here. Everything we've just done in sitting is what you need to take care of that spinal stenosis in your low back. If you want to join me, let's make it down to the floor and move our chair out of the way. So easy way to get to the floor is just to rotate yourself on your chair and slowly come down on one knee, followed by the other knee. When you're down onto your yoga mat, simply take your chair and move it out of the way. Okay, so find your yoga bolster. Place your yoga bolster somewhere midpoint-ish, maybe a little higher than midpoint, to the top of your mat. Once you've got yourself there, just a few cat-cows to open up that flexion one last time before we tackle rib cage, hips in the front, hips in the back, and opening our spine again. So nothing new here, the same 4 exercises, we're just doing them on the floor now. Go ahead and place yourself in hands and knees pose. Have it so that your knees are hip distance apart. Look back and make sure that your feet line up. Straddle the bolster between your knees and your hands, just so it's not in your way. And place your hands down on your yoga mat. Index fingers are forward. Wrists and elbows stack up with those shoulders. Thumbs spread them on inward. Make sure those hips are perfectly stacked on top of the knees. Now, we don't want extension. That cuts off those nerves, that creates back and leg pain. But we sure do want flexion. So all I want you to do is find your nice, beautiful tabletop position. Take an inhale, but just let your belly drop down. Can you do that? Now, as you exhale, pull the belly up and in, tuck the tailbone, spread the shoulder blades, lengthen the neck, bring the chin to the chest and gaze into the belly button. Okay, slowly bring it back down to tabletop position. Take an inhale, just let your belly sink. As you exhale, pull that belly up and in, tuck that tailbone under, spread the shoulder blades, lengthen the back of the neck, chin to chest. Drop back down to tabletop. Take an inhale, just let your belly sink. And exhale, pull that belly up and in, tuck that tailbone under, spread the shoulder blades, lengthen the neck, chin to chest, gaze into your belly button. Now, walk your hands onto your bolster. Keep that tailbone tucked under. Slowly, slowly, slowly sit onto your heels. Keep that tailbone tucked under and dive the crown of your head into the yoga bolster. Gazing straight back like you're trying to see your toes. Take a deep inhale into your belly here. And exhaling out. Slow, deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. Oh, wonderful. Slowly push yourself up and allow yourself to lay onto your left hip. So just like in sitting, we did a gentle rotation to open up through a rib cage. We're going to do a little bit more of an aggressive rotation through our rib cage now so that we can really increase that flexibility, but we're going to add a little bit of a side bend to the lumbar spine. Once again, to open up those spaces where those nerves are and give them nice, good mobility. So allow yourself to stack your knees and your ankles. Bring your rib cage up and over the bolster. Drop your head down on the other side. So if you can imagine these holes that are into your lumbar spine right now on the side where these nerves exit on the right side, they're getting some nice, beautiful space right now. So if you're that person that has right thigh pain or right leg pain because of spinal stenosis, this is the side for you to do. Once you've got yourself in this beautiful position, keep those knees nice and high so that you've got that flexion through your system. Take your right hand and place it on the floor in front of you. Now, rest your hand on your head, but allow your head to rotate with your arm so that this is entirely about your rib cage and your chest here. So allow yourself to inhale, lift the right arm up into the air. Then as you exhale, rotate that arm all the way behind you. Now, check in that those knees do not come apart from one another. So only go to where your rib cage has mobility. Don't allow your knees to open up. That's you playing into that hyper mobile extension low back, right? What causes the stenosis in the first place. Now, keep yourself right there. Knees are together. Knees are touching the bolster. Gaze is upward and backward towards the thumb. Opening up through the chest, but really creating beautiful rotation of your rib cage here. Take a nice deep inhale into your belly. And exhaling out. One more time, nice deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. Inhale, bring the gaze and the fingertips up towards the ceiling. And then as you exhale, unrotate that rib cage. Bottom elbow, top hand, take a nice deep inhale. And as you exhale, push yourself up into a seated position. And let's just repeat that all over on the opposite side. So you can do a 180-degree turn at home if you like. I'm just turning my bolster around so that I'm still facing you. Once you've got yourself positioned, laying on your right hip, take your knees, stack them up, ankles stack them, and take the knees and touch the bolster so that you're in a nice, good amount of flexion. Then drop the rib cage up and over the bolster, support the hand onto the head, onto the right side. Now, we are opening up those lumbar spine spaces on the left side. So for those of you that might have leg pain in the back of the thigh, front thigh pain with spinal stenosis, this is the side for you. So keep those knees nice and tight and up towards that bolster. Now take your left hand and place it in front of you on the floor. Remember, take your gaze with your hand. Now, inhale, lift the hand and the head upwards towards the ceiling. And then as you exhale, rotate that arm behind you. Now, again, as you're rotating that arm behind you, don't let those knees open, guys. Keep that spine nice and stable. Let that rib cage be what opens up. All right, so knees are together, knees are touching the bolster, gaze is backward towards the thumb, nicely opening up through the abdominals, rib cage, and your chest here. Take a deep inhale into your belly and exhaling out. One more time, nice deep inhale into the belly and exhaling out. Slowly inhaling, bringing the head, gaze, and the hand upward. And as you exhale, dropping the hand in front of you. All right, sitting up onto that right elbow, left hand, nice deep inhale. As you exhale, push yourself up into a seated position. Okay, your bolster is good where it is. But now we've opened up our rib cage. Remember, one stiff component related to lumbar spinal stenosis. Now we have to start tackling the hips. So we're going to do it in the same order we did in sitting. So we're going to open up through the front of the hips first, open up through the back of the hips second, and finally create that full flexion to open up those nerves and create nutrition in the end. So now let's get up onto this bolster. So here's my advice on how to do that. Lift yourself up so that your right or left hip is all the way to the very edge of one side of the bolster. Once you've got yourself there, drop down to the edge of your yoga mat. So you're pretty much in an inversion and a side bend. Then tightening your abdominals and log rolling yourself all the way up and onto the bolster so that the entire pelvis area is on the bolster. Now, Check in that you feel that your low back, so your waistband should be at the top of that bolster area. Don't have your low back being forced into extension on top of that bolster. So make sure the bolster is low enough that you feel like it is your pelvis that is on the bolster. Then lengthen your neck, settle your chin, and gently bring your knees towards your chest. Nice little opening already to begin here. Reverse child's pose or knees to chest. Take a deep inhale into your belly. And then exhaling out. One more time. Nice deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. All right, keep the left knee to your chest. Take your right foot and place the right foot onto the floor. Now, if you've got a pretty significant amount of stenosis in your back, you've got lots of tension in your hips, you already may feel the opening through the front of your right hip here. So this just might be where you stay. And if it is, all you're going to do is take an inhale, and as you exhale, attempt to tuck your tailbone under and create more opening here. But if you have a little bit more opening through this right hip to have, slowly walk your foot away from the bolster until your hip goes into a little bit of extension. If you feel your low back arching or you feel your left knee coming away from your chest, you have gone too far. So figure out for you what is the right amount of hip extension to do on the right leg before we add our pelvic tilt. Now, check in that your knee hasn't fallen off into the side. That's just a tight IT band. Play with keeping that knee and hip in alignment here. Take a deep inhale, and on your exhale, tuck your tailbone under and feel the opening through the front of your hip. Lengthen your neck, settle your chin. Take a deep inhale into your belly. And exhaling out. Slow, deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. Wonderful. Walk that foot back in. Take that right knee to your chest. Both knees to your chest. Settle your chin into your throat. Lengthen your neck. Take a deep inhale into your belly. And exhaling out. Slow, deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. All right, right knee stays to the chest. Lower the left foot to the floor. Again, as you lower your left foot to the floor, if you feel plenty of stretch and tension in the front of your left hip, you stay right here. All that you will do is on the inhale, belly expands. On the exhale, tuck the tailbone under and feel that beautiful opening through the front of that left hip. But if you've got a little bit more hip extension, just slowly walk the left foot away. Only go until you feel like you either feel your back starting to arch and or your right knee comes away from your chest. Check in that the knee has not fallen out to the side. Lengthen your neck, settle your chin. All together now. Nice deep inhale in, and as you exhale, tuck that tailbone under. Okay, hold that stretch in the front of the left hip. Take a deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. One more breath. Nice deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. Wonderful. Release the pelvic tilt. Walk the leg back in. Foot towards the bolster. Bring the knee back up to the chest. All right, hip distance with those feet and knees. Lengthen the neck, settle the chin. Take a deep inhale into your belly. And exhaling out. One more breath. Nice deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. Wonderful. So we are now officially done with the bolster. So what I want you to do is just gently push the bolster away from you. You can either kick it down to the end of your yoga mat or just slide it off to the side of you. Then gently place your bottom onto the yoga mat, no longer in an inversion. I bet you your low back and your leg pain is already feeling better, and we haven't even finished our plan for the day. So in this position now, what I want you to do is take your right knee to your chest. Take a nice deep inhale in, and as you exhale, pull that knee into your chest. Deep belly breath into that right thigh here. Deep inhale in. And exhaling out. One more time, deep inhale in. And exhaling out. All right, back to those hamstrings and thighs. Take your hands to the underside of that right knee. Hold that right knee nice and snug into your chest. Keep your left knee bent for now. Take your right toes, point them up towards your head. Take an inhale and start to straighten your right knee. How much can you straighten your right knee without your knee coming away from your chest? So keep the knee into the chest as you work on straightening the right knee. And then as you exhale, just let it go. All right, let's do that 4 times. Toes up, lengthen the neck, settle the chin. Inhaling and straightening. Maybe you got some shaking happening. That's okay. Exhaling and relaxing. Inhaling and straightening. Exhaling and relaxing. Inhaling and straightening. Exhaling and relaxing. One more time for me. Inhaling and straightening. And exhaling and relaxing. Beautiful. Release your right foot to the floor and take your left knee to your chest. Hands around the shin bone here. Lengthening the neck, settling the chin, allowing yourself to take a nice deep inhale in. And as you exhale, pull that knee nice and snug into the chest. Now, in this position, allow yourself to belly breathe into that left thigh. So nice deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. You got it. One more time. Nice deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. Wonderful. Take your hands, bring them to the underside of that thigh, and let's do a little bit more opening up through those hamstrings, gluteals, and sciatic nerve. So lengthen your neck, settle your chin, take those left toes, point them up towards your head. Knee is going to stay to your chest, but you're going to inhale and straighten your leg as much as you can without your knee coming away from your chest. Then on the exhale, you're just going to slowly lower the foot back down. All right, 4 times on the left side here. Lengthen that neck, settle that chin. Here we go. Inhale, straightening the knee. Exhaling and relaxing. Inhaling, straightening the knee. Exhaling and relaxing. That shaking, by the way, is just your quads getting a good workout. Don't worry about it. Inhaling, straightening that knee. Exhaling and relaxing. Let's do one more time. Inhaling, straightening that knee. And exhaling and relaxing. Beautiful. All right, so keep the left knee to the chest. Take the right knee. Bring the right knee back up to the chest. Hands around the shin bones here. Take a deep inhale into the belly, opening up through those areas where those nerves come out. And then as you exhale, relaxing here. One more nice deep inhale in. And exhaling, relaxing here. Beautiful. Slowly lowering your right foot to the floor, slowly lowering your left foot to the floor. All right, the final thing I want to review in this low back spinal stenosis therapeutic yoga class is the what not to do's related to strengthening your glutes. So oftentimes a very common pose in yoga is bridge pose. Bridge pose assumes that an individual has a certain amount of gluteal strength. If one has tight hips and weak glutes, and you do a simple bridge pose, you're creating a tremendous amount of extension or encroachment onto those nerves of your low back, and you could be making your problem worse. So what I would like to introduce to you is a modification of bridge pose that will not let your back go into any extension, but does allow you to get some wonderful strengthening through your glutes. So take your left knee back to your chest, take your right leg now and slide it all the way down your yoga mat. As you put yourself in that position, this left knee to your chest is not only opening through the left gluteals, but it's protecting your low back from going into extension. Now snug that left knee nice and tight into your chest, and let's make these right gluteal muscles work. So simple as this. Take your toes, point them up if you can. Tighten that knee as much as you can. Now take an inhale and push that heel down into the floor. Feel your gluteals contract, but no tension into your low back. Then as you exhale, relax the glutes, relax the leg. Let's do that 4 more times. Here we go. Lengthen your neck, settle your chin. Inhale, push that leg down into the floor, squeeze and feel those glutes strengthening. And exhale and completely relax. Lengthen the neck, settle the chin, toes up. Inhale, pushing that entire leg down into the floor, squeezing through those glutes. And exhaling and relaxing. You've got 2 more in you. I know you do. Lengthen the neck, settle the chin, toes up. Inhale, push that leg down. Keep inhaling and exhaling. Fully relax. 1 more time. Toes up, lengthen the neck, settle the chin. Inhale, push that entire leg down into the floor. And exhale and relax. Wonderful job, guys. Slide that right leg up, release that left foot to the floor. Let's find that same glute activation and strengthening on the left side without irritating that low back into extension. So right knee comes to chest, that protects our low back. Left leg, slide it all the way down that yoga mat. You know where we're going. We've already done it once. Allow yourself to tighten through your left knee. Toes are up, lengthen your neck, settle your chin. Take a deep inhale and push that left leg down into the floor. Glutes are getting stronger. Exhale and relax. 4 more times. Inhale, pushing downward, toes are up, lengthen the neck, settle the chin. And exhale and relax. Toes are up, lengthen the neck, settle the chin. Inhale, push, push, push through that inhale. And exhale and let go. Toes are up, lengthen the neck, settle the chin. Inhale and push that leg down into that floor, strengthening your glutes. Exhale and let go. I promise just 1 more. Toes are up, lengthen the neck, settle the chin. Inhale and push that leg all the way down into the floor. And exhale and relax. You've got it. Slide that left foot up, release that right foot to the floor. Okay, we have done a great job of opening up our spine, creating nutrition and blood flow for those nerves to heal. We've created flexibility of our rib cage, often too tight, which makes us overuse our low back. We have created flexibility of the front and the back of our hips, oftentimes too tight, making our low back overwork. We're going to do 1 more stretch through the back of our hips today, and it's really just for our hip rotators. So those of you that I demonstrated at the beginning of class that love to sit with your pelvis in a slump and your legs rotated outward, this is the stretch for you. So take your right knee to your chest, slide your left leg down the yoga mat. Then take your right knee and bring it a little bit towards the center of your chest. Now make sure that your pelvis doesn't lift off your yoga mat. So for you, you may not even get to midline if your hips are really tight. Then place your right hand onto your right knee. Slide that left hand down and either grab the right ankle or grab the right shin. You just kind of pick wherever you're holding, but try to keep that right pelvis as close to the floor as you can here. If your knee is nowhere near midline and it's out to the side, that is okay. You have to begin somewhere. Lengthen your neck, settle your chin, take a nice deep inhale, and as you exhale, pull the knee towards midline, pull that right ankle up towards your left shoulder. Feel that stretch in the midpoint of your right hip. Relax through your left leg. Relax through your neck, settle your chin. Now take a deep inhale into your belly here.
And exhaling out. Slow, deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. Wonderful. Release that left hand from the right ankle. Unrotate the hip. Rest the right foot on the floor. Slide the left leg up. Slide the right leg down and bring the left knee up to your chest. Okay, same thing here. So you're taking the left knee and bringing it to the midline-ish of your body. Make sure that the left pelvis stays on the floor. Then left hand supports the left knee. Right hand reach down for the left shin bone or the left ankle, wherever you can reach. Allow yourself to begin here. Take that nice deep inhale, and as you exhale, focus on bringing the knee to the midline and that left ankle up towards that right shoulder. Relax through the right leg. Lengthen your neck, settle your chin here. Take a deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. One more time, nice deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. Releasing the right hand from the left ankle, unrotating the hip. Sliding the right leg up and then bringing the right knee to the chest. Now, we're going into spinal twists before Savasana, but we don't want to do spinal twists like we normally do. Because if you've got lumbar spinal stenosis and you bring one leg down and you cross the other and you purely rotate, it's a tremendous amount of extension for those nerves to handle. So what I want to show you is a nice, easy modification of spinal twist to be able to do for someone that has lumbar spinal stenosis. So keep your knees to your chest. We know that opens up those nerve spaces. That's what we want. Then in this position, take a nice deep inhale. And as you exhale, roll yourself over to your right or your left side. Keeping those knees nice and snug towards the chest. Right hand rests onto the left thigh. Head gently rests onto the floor. Take your left arm up into the air. And then as you exhale, bring your arm all the way back. So maybe not quite the spinal twist that we normally end class with, but one that's very good for somebody who has spinal stenosis. Now, keeping those knees together, holding those knees up towards the chest, left arm as far back as you feel comfortable. Lengthen your neck, settle your chin, and turn your gaze towards the left. Take a deep inhale into your belly here. And exhaling out. Slow, deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. Unrotate your head first. Unrotate the rib cage second. Snug those knees into your chest with your left arm. Now use your right elbow and push yourself back up into a position of knees to chest. All right, now we're just repeating that to the opposite direction. So knees are to the chest, roll yourself over onto your left side. I'm sorry, my back side is to you, but take your left hand and hold the top side of your right knee. Then once you have yourself there, right arm, inhale it up into the air, and as you exhale, rotate that arm behind you. Now check in that those knees stay together and they're snug up towards your chest. Then lengthen your neck, settle your chin, and turn your gaze back towards that right side. Okay, take a deep inhale here. And exhaling out. One more breath, nice deep inhale in. And exhaling out. Unrotate the head first with that right arm, inhale it up, and then as you exhale, unrotate the rib cage. Now, snug the right hand underneath those legs, take that left elbow on the floor, and push yourself back up into a knees to chest position. Beautiful. Final thing for us to do with class today is a total nerve stretch. So real important for individuals that don't only have spinal stenosis of the outside where the nerves come out, but maybe also spinal stenosis to the inside of the spinal cord.
That spinal cord desperately needs mobility, and that's what we're going to give it. So take your hands around your chin bones, lengthen your neck, settle your chin. Slowly start to curl your chin towards your chest. Kind of looks like we did in sitting, doesn't it? And pull your forehead as close to your knees as possible. Take a deep inhale here. And exhaling. One more time. Nice deep inhale in. And exhaling. Now use the strength of your arms. Slowly uncurl the rib cage. Good abdominal work as well. And then slowly uncurl the neck. You did it. Release one foot to the floor, followed by the other. Keep the abdominals engaged. Allow your spine not to go into extension. Then very slowly lower one heel down to each corner of your mat. Once your legs are relaxed downward, relax through your pelvis. Now, if you feel back pain in this position because your spinal stenosis is severe enough, bring those knees back up into a bend so that you're not in any back tension through Savasana. Wherever you are today, place your legs, then roll your shoulder blades underneath you. Straighten those elbows, lengthen those arms away from your shoulders. Palms are lifted, lengthen your neck. Settle your chin, and let's rest our body here. So in sitting and in laying on our yoga mat, we did the exact same things. We increased the flexibility of our rib cage, giving our low back a little bit of a break. We increased the flexibility of the front of our hips and the back of our hips, giving our low back a little break. And then we worked on segmentally flexing, curling our body, creating a gentle mobility of our nervous system. What a wonderful class for those with back pain and leg pain, or just a spine that is aging a little too quickly relative to their age. Wiggle your fingers and your toes, and then start to do some circles with your ankles and your wrists. Then when you feel like you're ready, if your knees are straight, slowly slide the legs up and bend your elbows, and slowly let yourself roll to your right or your left side. Rest there for a moment. Breath 2, 3, whatever feels comfortable for you. Then on a nice deep inhale, and then on the exhale, bottom elbow, top hand, push yourself up into a seated position. Find yourself in an easy pose on your yoga mat. Place your hands to the center of your chest, lengthen your neck, settle your chin, and put a smile on your face. You did some wonderful work for your low back today. Take a deep inhale in and exhaling out. Namaste. The highest in me salutes the highest in you. Thank you for joining me today.